Welcome, everyone. I'm very happy to see that we have people joining in. That's very good. My name is Kata. I'm here on the behalf of Animation School, and today we're going to have a very, very special 5-Minute Friday, if you want to call it. It will be a Q&A live extravaganza where we're going to talk about with our students, and you'll be able to hear firsthand about how is life and learning at Animation Club.School. And I'm very happy that you will be able to join us today. And I think it's going to be very fun. But first, I wanted to introduce all the students who are joining here today. So let's start with Valmera. Can you talk more about yourself? Just tell us so we'd know you a little better.
Oh, sure thing. Well, I'm mostly known as Valmera. My name is Anna, actually, and I'm a 2D animator and character designer. And, well, I am a fan of animation in general, and whatever's art related, honestly. And I'm very happy to be here.
We're very happy to have you too. Next up is Robin. Can you introduce yourselves to us?
Yes, hi, my name is Robin. I also study illustration at the Academy, but I've loved 2D animation ever since I was a kid, and I am really glad to have found this school and been able to learn so much here already. So yeah, happy to be here.
Yay! Next up is Maria.
Hello, my name is Maria. My background is actually in 3D animation. I've been wanting to make the switch over to 2D for a couple years now, so I was really happy to find this course because I was looking for something that could offer. That's also my dog in the background. I don't know if you guys hear that, but I've been trying to find a course that would offer feedback and critique every week, and then like more of a community environment. So yeah, this course has provided that for me, so I'm really happy to be here as well.
Good. That's very good to hear. And Monica, can you tell us about yourself?
Hello. Thank you for inviting me, Kata. You're always very nice. It's very nice to join you in these streams. So I'm Monica. I'm from Portugal. I'll try to be very quick here because I have a different background. Actually, my background was not animation or arts. I studied organizational psychology. I worked in human resources many years. Until 3 years ago when I decided I don't want to do this anymore. I want to do my hobby, which is drawing and later animating. I want to do that my full-time job. So I quit my job and I went freelance, started doing some gigs, did some online courses. And now I felt that I needed something a bit more advanced to push me and my boundaries. And I found Animation School. I've been following you for a while since I watched an interview with Edward and Mauer. And here I am, very happy to be here.
Yay! We're also very happy to have you, Monica. And the last person who will be talking about the student life is me, because once I was a student as well. Now I'm just a mere little host. But my name is Kata. I'm also a student of Animation Club.School. And I've always been very artistic, though I had some interesting life journeys, but that basically allowed me to start actually doing animation just a couple of years ago. But I've been always very interested in it. When I was young, I really liked these download GIFs people would put in their blogs, and I wanted to do something similar. And that's basically what jump-started me to being here on this call with these very talented people. So I think we can move from simple introductions to stuff we actually do in the school. I mean, our shots. And I think we're going to discuss them as well, one by one. But before we do that, I want to give a little remark that if you have any questions, since it's a Q&A, you can put them in the chat right nearby our live stream. Just remember to put the word question in all caps, so I won't be able to miss it. And if you want to ask some specific student a question about their shots, for example, also please put the name in so we won't get confused. So I think right now we can move to showing your shots and what we did during the course. And of course, I think it would be logical if we started with some people who did some works for the first course, then move on to the second and finish with the third one. We have a fourth one, but I think it will be interesting to have a separate conversation because it takes like a really long time on the fourth course to do all of it, and it takes multiple departments to do it. But today I want to focus on 2D animators specifically. So let's start with course number 1, and let's start with Valmira and her work.
Woo,
Can you show us what you did?
Okay.
Go.
Well, this was like my last assignment that I did so far. It was actually a bit challenging to me, but like, yeah, let me play it.
Sound effects are very important. It looks amazing. I love it. So cute.
Woo, thank you.
So could you tell us more about your creative process? Like, how did you decide to go with like this specific idea? And like, what are you planning to do with it? Like as well, you're gonna add some special effects. Tell me more. I want to know.
Oh, sure. So, well, when I started this, I actually used a little mouse character that I made some time ago. She's like a mouse witch or something. Of course, this design is kind of simpler than what it used to be. And my creative process would be like, well, I started with like rough thumbnails of what I wanted the action to be, the expressions, and anything else that I wanted to add, you know? And of course, I plan on finishing it. I want to like add VFX. I want to add like a background. And if I can do a little bit of compositing, that would be like awesome, you know?
Yeah. Give it some glow just to make it crispy.
Exactly.
So this is an exercise, I think it goes in the first course where you have to use a pillow to make a punch and just turn it to any other character.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
You turn into a mouse.
Oh, she's very cute.
Yay.
Are you planning to use that mouse in the future for your other shots?
Sure.
Like the turnaround, or you have something else prepared? Just, I'm asking because I'm very interested.
Oh, well, I want to like use her, but like her original design, which is like a little bit different, but it's like the same vibe, you know? It's like a witch mouse.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Plus, you can add different elements like to the design when you're turning it around, just to have every part of the character would be have something interesting.
Oh yeah, she actually has a little flower crown over here and like a little cape, but I didn't add it because, well, you know, animation takes time, and redrawing those flowers is like
takes
gonna take a long time.
Okay. Do you have anything else you would like to add about your shot? Maybe we can see it just a couple of more times.
I guess it's just like a simple thing. I just wish like I added a background. This is supposed to be like a forest, but you cannot see it because there's nothing there yet.
We can imagine it. We can imagine it. We can just put like imaginary trees. I see them.
Yeah.
I see the cool summer breeze. Okay, good. Thank you for telling us about your work. I hope to see the finished version on the our like best like students demo reels and everything, and maybe we can even link it in the description once it'll be done. So yeah, little win for us, I guess, to see a little cute animation. I think since Valmira showed her shot, we can go to the next student, that is Robin. Hi Robin, since you introduced yourself, can you talk more about your reel and what inspired you to do it? What was the challenges?
Yes. I'm going to share the screen just so you can see what it is.
Awesome.
Let me just, okay. Tell me if you can see it and if it works.
Yeah, I can see it very well.
Okay. So Yeah, so basically, I had the idea of doing a dragon because I love dragons and I just wanted to challenge myself with it a little bit. And I wanted to see how I would go about like doing like all the limbs and like the hair and all the effects of it, like swooshing through the like entire scene. And basically, the way I went about planning this whole thing was I did a lot of thumbnails just to figure out the motion of the dragon through the scene. And then after that, I tried to figure out the spacing and the timing by basically drawing little heads of the dragon along the little line on the thumbnails, just to figure out the spacing. And then once I was satisfied with that, I decided to figure out the background. I drew that in Krita, and then I placed everything onto the computer. And basically started off by making the guide for like the line. Okay, that's how the dragon is going to move. Then I placed the guide for the head, where it's going to be placed. And then after that, I went along with animating and slowly adding all the details, changing the things that like needed to be changed with Edward's advice. And really the most challenging part was making the like limbs look good and appealing and looking desynchronized, like basically moving at a different speed, while also having the silhouette be clear and understandable. That took a long, long time. But it was a
and it
really
looks
fun shot.
complicated too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Doing the animating the dragon, especially thinking about the silhouette, that probably took a lot of time just to make
Yeah.
everything look really good, because the tangents, like you can just, they could be everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. And also the little like hold frame that he has when he basically straightens up, that was also really difficult because it kept
Ooh.
kind of keeping it static way too much, or like making it go up and
Yeah.
down. And it took a while to get it to slowly get into that shape and like get out of it. I learned a
Yeah.
lot. It was a really fun shot. And
And the little
Edward's advice
bunny
really helped.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was also Edward's idea to add like something to show like how it affects the nature and like everything around it. So yeah.
So it's also
It's
going to
been-
be a forest scene. Is it the thing he's cracking? Is it like glass? You're going to put like shards of glass into it?
Yeah, it was actually supposed to be kind of like this little orb, like a magical
Oh.
orb. So basically he like
Yeah,
slams through it and it like
does.
slowly magically dissolves. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
that was also really
wow.
fun learning how to do the effects because it never really did them before the first course.
Uh-huh.
And I like during it, I actually learned that I really enjoy doing them and really enjoy
Yes,
exploring
special
them.
effects are fun.
Yeah, it's been really it's challenging but really fun. So
Yeah.
I've learned a lot with the shot.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. I really liked it as well. Very dynamic. And I love that you did like the environment animation, and it's just, I can't wait for the finished product.
Yeah, thank you.
So the next one in our order is Maria. Can you show what you're doing for your courses and just talk about it, whatever you feel like talking about?
Sure, sounds good. Okay, let me share my screen. Alrighty, can you see it?
Yes.
All right, so I'll start off just by playing it. So this is the same assignment that's been mentioned. It's the flower sack assignment, where a flower sack like does some sort of impact, and then through the impact morphs into another character. So I knew like that I wanted to morph it into Shokupanman, which is like this cute little toast character from Anpanman, if anybody knows that. And initially, I mean, the process for it was pretty straightforward. I just did the rough animation. I think something that was helpful was I kind of knew what I wanted to do from the beginning. So luckily I didn't have to like switch ideas too much throughout the process. I basically knew like I wanted some sort of Dragon Ball Z-esque action part at the beginning with like sort of little movements that would be anticipation for then like the big impact that would then switch into the new character. And then I wanted some sort of like perspective change at the end to where we could see the character a little closer to camera. So yeah, I just kind of kept going with it and then slowly adding effects. This was my first time doing effects. So like I looked at a lot of reference, and to be honest, I feel like I still don't fully understand how to make them just on my own. Like I really had to figure a lot of that out because effects, like character animations, is very intuitive in that you can be like, oh, like this character would do this or act in this way. But for effects, they are based off of nature, so you kind of have to know how they work.
Yeah, exactly.
So this was, yeah, it was good for like a little taste of, sorry, my I don't know if the audio is like really loud. My roommates decide to be loud like right when I'm talking.
No, we're good. I didn't hear anything.
Okay, good. Okay, I'm glad. But yeah, so it was good to get like a little taste of effects and see like, okay, maybe this is like kind of how like real effects artists would approach it later. So that was a good thing to try. And then once I took it to cleanup, I actually think that was the part that was the trickiest because I hadn't ever really taken anything to like a fully clean animation pass where you really have to like tie down all the details of the character and make sure everything is like on model. And actually I kind of messed it up because when I animated this on Rough Animator and then I brought it into Photoshop for cleanup. But I exported it initially from Rough Animator with the camera. And so then when I was compositing it in Photoshop, I realized that like to do parallax and things like that, not all of it should be with the same camera. So I actually ended up re-exporting it without the camera and then adding the camera in comp afterwards so that I could control all aspects of the look of it.
Oh, wow.
And then I ended up, after adding the colors and stuff in Photoshop, I added some compositing stuff in After Effects to get like the very final look of everything.
Just to make it extra
Yeah, that was-
crispy. Yeah,
just to
and
have,
it's
like,
like
a little
you
bit
could
of
see how
glow.
much work you put into it. Sorry, I interrupted you. I just wanted to say like how impressive it looks when it's cleaned up. I absolutely understand your struggle with cleaning up because especially when you put everything in like rough lines, when you make like, you know, two lines like to indicate something over here and your brain reads it as something that's correct. But once you start cleaning it up, do I do it over this line or this line? Because they both look good enough for me. So cleanup is a whole other beast.
Yeah, definitely. And especially for like some tight spacing parts, like for example, I'll pause it. Like right here where the flower sack's like pulling back for the punch. There are a couple of frames that are very tight in spacing, and in my rough, it looked like that was happening. But then when I brought it into Photoshop, I realized like, oh, I like these arcs aren't really right, and like the movement here is kind of jaggedy, like once I started to really clean it up. So I think initially I just assumed cleaning up would be cleaning up like just the rough line art, like cleaning it up as in just drawing it over. But I realized like it was good to keep in mind, oh, you do have to kind of change things as you go and like make slight improvements. So it's a good learning. Like it was good to take it there so that I could learn kind of like that it has its own set of challenges, like you said.
Yeah, same. Do you have another shot you would like to share with us?
Yes, I have one more, which I wanted to include. So the flower sack is kind of the final for the first course, and then this is the dynamic shot, which is the final for the second course, which technically we're supposed to be done with this assignment, but I'm not close at all, very far away, in fact, from finishing. But I wanted to show like what I have so far for it very quickly. So I'll play it once. Okay, so as you can see, it's still pretty rough. But the idea is basically I'm using the character Common Rider, SD, which is like a chibi version of Common Rider. I think there's like one YouTube video that's like 30 minutes long that you can find that features that character. But I wanted to I knew that like I wouldn't have a lot of time, so I wanted to do something that I felt was manageable. So I kept it to one character, and I wanted to try making a loop. So I wanted to specifically in the short for the character, there is a part where the character transforms into a ball, like kind of like a Sonic Kirby ball, and avoids explosions. So I wanted to do that, and then just kind of play around with perspective, like being able to bring the character far away from camera, forward in camera, just kind of challenge myself in that way. And there was definitely a lot of different passes, and like, again, I knew what I wanted, but like how I was going to get the character to do those movements in like a fun, cartoony way. I think that was the part that every iteration I started to add like a little bit more detail to the movement just to make it have more personality, which I still think I could have added more. Like the character is pretty cartoony and could have been stretched more. So that's like something to keep in mind, I think, for the future, is like how to improve on like more cartoony, inventive animation that's like less straightforward and maybe more like what's the word, like expressive, I guess. But yeah, so anyways, that's that one. And I think now the challenge is just going to be, again, putting everything on model and making things look precise and not just like rough line work.
Yeah, but it still looks very promising, especially the special effects you did, the way they just go with the perspective line and slowly disappear. Well, right now, not slowly, but my brain kind of reads it at like slowly, like drifting away. Like I could see like where you could bring it, and it's like, it looks very fun.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I think the sorry, last thing, just because you mentioned the effects, but it reminded me of, that was like also a challenge, was I have never really animated in like a very dynamic perspective before, which is, I think, the challenge of this assignment is that or like one of the big ones. And I think keeping in mind like the speed of different things, like if the background is moving at this speed, then what's front of camera should be moving like way faster than that. So like keeping in mind different rates of speed for objects moving in space. And I think once I add more elements to the background also, which is ultimately what I have planned, that's also something I'm going to have to keep in mind, is like how to simulate parallax, I guess, in space.
Yeah, I understand. It all sounds very complex. Can't wait to see what you're going to bring us once it's going to be done. Also, can't wait. We have so many talented people. Jesus.
All right, I'll stop sharing.
Okay, so now we have Monica. What shots would you like to show us and discuss today?
Yay! Okay, I just wanted to say that no pressure at all, because every time you say, I cannot wait to see the finished version. No pressure. Yeah,
now.
but we can do it. We can do it. I believe it. Okay, let me just give a little heads up, because unlike my colleagues, I jumped directly to the second course of animation school, since I've done some other courses somewhere else. I don't need to mention where. In the past, like very basic animation education. So Edward allowed me to join directly the second. So what I would like to share first, let me just share my screen. Can you see it?
Yep, I can. Okay. All good.
So what I will share first is a turnaround I did before joining this course. I did it like based, of course, on other courses, not so advanced I did before, and watching YouTube tutorials, like asking for help to animation friends that are more experienced in the industry. So I think it did turn out all right, but looking at it right now, this is a character I've done for my mother. She's a baker, so this is like a little joke I did. I think it's okay, but now looking at this and after these first months of course 2, which is body dynamics, I would already change some things here. I will maybe stop and share instead the model sheet so you don't get busy. But okay, this is behind the cameras. Let me hide us. Okay, so this is the model sheet with the main poses for the turnaround. And I immediately look at this tangent right here, like immediately.
Well, yeah. When you show it, I can see it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's something I didn't notice before, but now after doing these courses, this second course I joined, I hear Edward's voice, careful with the tangents, be careful. And also maybe I would make this hand a little bit bigger comparing to this one, because since she's facing us, it should be closer to the camera. So the volume should be a bit slightly bigger. Maybe the head should be a little bit further, because otherwise it seems like she's like falling backwards. These are little things that, okay, they look like details, but might make a difference in the overall result of an animation. And that's one thing I already feel that I'm learning a lot by joining this course. So yeah, I didn't do this for the first course, but I can already understand.
Which was interesting. We do the turnaround in the first course as well. So basically it's like almost you like went through the first course and did it.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I wanted to show it, because it's like, okay, I didn't do it in the course, but now looking at it, I can understand what I could have improved. Also, another very important thing, it took me a lot of time, because like without having, I'll just stop sharing for some seconds, but without having like the tools and the workflow and the process and all those hints that you learn in the course, I think I wasted or invested a lot of time like trying stuff to see if it felt good. And I think we get much more effective after gaining these tools in the course and get much faster. So that's something I believe if I've done this turnaround after the course 1, I would definitely make it faster. Let me just add something else. I did join the second course, but just because of availability, I could only do one right now. But I would definitely also join the first course, even if I did other courses in other schools in the past, because I believe animators should once in a while go back to the foundations, to the principles, to review even if it's the bouncing ball or something more simple. Let's call it like that. But I think it's good to review that once in a while. So I would have done it, but since I had to pick one, I went straight for the second one. And why the second one? Because I struggle a lot with perspective. Okay, I never animated until now something in like deep perspective or with the dynamic action. All the animations I did as a freelancer were like very subtle, in the more or less the same space, very pretty, very cute, but not like action and stuff happening in perspective. So that's why I joined this course, like to face my demons. And what I would like to show you now, it's exactly this.
The demons we mentioned.
Yeah, the demons. So this is in a very rough state. Can I put, yes, okay. So basically, this is the same element that Maria showed for the dynamic shot that we were supposed to have finished last week, but we didn't. None of us finished. Let me just move to the version without the camera, otherwise you will get sick by looking at it. Yeah, so this is in a very initial phase. Basically, this is a character I like a lot from Avatar: The Last Airbender. Sokka, he's like my favorite character because he's very silly. I identify. And and also I picked this character because this is like the animation style that I like the most, and that's where I want to go. I know it's quite still difficult for me to figure out the anatomy, especially in perspective, but this is what I want to do, so that's
and you said you like the challenge, so you picked the right character to basically level up.
To give you some context for this shot, when Edward told us, okay, think of a dynamic shot where the character will move around in perspective, not just on the same plane. I thought, okay, I want to do that, but I also want to give it some silly meaning because it's a silly character. So I wanted like to make him run, jump, throw boomerang, then like he's waiting for boomerang to go through his hand, but it doesn't happen, and it kind of bumps in his head and destroys his hair tie, and he gets like frustrated with that. Right now, what am I doing? I'm like, let's call it the rough tie down, because it's not yet exactly a tie down, but I'm trying to figure the volumes of his body first in the poses. So the ones which are blue are still not figured. Okay, so I'm still working on it. I started with some key poses like running, jumping. Well, this part is already done, but jumping, rotating, landing, sliding, and then like expecting boomerang, being hit and being sad at the end. So I think I missed. Okay, yeah, being sad. This is the last frame. So I did this like picked 3 or 4 frames or key poses to tie down first. Then I started to do it with the breakdowns, and I'm still working on it. So the next steps will be figure how the outfit of this character will look in this motion and draw it, and then of course clean everything, maybe add some special effects here when he lands, like some dust popping out. So I will check Kata's 5-minute Friday for for dust explosion. That's very nice.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, what I wanted to share about this is still in progress, but what I wanted to share is it makes a lot of difference to watch reference, for me at least. I watched a lot of episodes from Avatar: The Last Airbender, picking like similar poses of this character in this perspective. I don't know what happened here, but this line should be here. I think I already corrected it. Yeah, I corrected it already in Toon Boom. But yeah, I think looking at references, because someone else already figured how to draw this character in many poses that are very similar to what I need here. So yeah, it was not easy to find, no, but I think that was very helpful. Also, when I didn't find something close to what I wanted, I just recorded myself more or less. Of course, not doing the flip, I cannot do that, but the hands angle and stuff like that, it was very helpful to try to draw this character more or less properly. And I think that's all, Kata.
Yeah, I like how it looks. I have a special place in my heart for shots that try to utilize like comedy. I tried, I think, to do that in one of the shots, but I'm not really good at comedic timing in visual medias. So there's stuff I have to learn, but I think he managed it pretty well. I like how confident he looks and the defeated face right afterwards.
Like he's like, I'm a badass, I'm going to pick the boomerang. But
yeah,
no.
like he's trying to impress the ladies, and the ladies are not impressed.
That's exactly what I said in class, so yeah. Exactly.
See, well, you got that right, like, because I understood it completely.
I'm happy.
The way he like slid and like give this little glance, it looks like he was like trying to impress someone.
Yeah, I mean, there's still a lot to do, especially with like overlapping and follow through with the hair, stuff like that. But yeah, I think slowly, very slowly, we are building this, and I'm sure we will all manage to finish these assignments.
Yeah,
Success.
I hope so too. I hope to see them all on my table in like 2 weeks.
Yeah, oh no.
Everything should be ready, cleaned up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Would you like to add anything else before we move on to the next student?
I think we can move on. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for showing us. I think it's already there's like so much work that has been done. But I wanted to go before we go to my shots. I wanted to call Robin because they have a second shot they would like to show, and could you present it to us?
Yes, yes. I wanted to show the dynamic shot I actually did for this class. Let me just find where it is.
Robin is the person who like animated 2 characters, not 1, but 2.
Yeah. So let me just see if this will
sorry.
work. Okay, yeah. So basically, I decided to torture myself with this. I decided to choose a really complex perspective, and I love perspective. I love doing stuff with it, but it took a long time to figure it out and make the character actually look correct while it moves in the perspective. And there's still a lot of things that need to be changed. Like this is really rough. The guy that falls back, he's way too big. That's not correct sizing at all. And like for example, when it comes...
Robin, for some reason, I think I'm not the only one, but I can't see the screen.
Wait.
I thought it was like my specific issue, but
let me
it's
try
okay.
again.
We'll give you a second.
Yeah. Let me attempt again in that case.
Oh, we can have a minute. It's okay.
Yeah.
And I'll also will show my works, but everyone in the chat and like in the room will have to be
Does
very
this
nice
work?
about it. Yes, it works.
Oh, lovely. Okay,
Awesome.
amazing. Okay, so here it is again. So basically, as I said, struggled with the perspective, decided to do something pretty complex. And yeah, and as I said, the guy that falls back, he is way too big. Like that's not correct at all. So I'll have to change like a few things. It was a struggle. It was a really big struggle, and I didn't work on this as much as I wish I could have, like as much as I worked on the first course. So it could have been better, but it was really challenging, and I did learn quite a lot. Also, there's like a couple of things that I do need to change. The timing is like when she lands, she needs to stay there for like a little longer, and when she hits him, she needs to stay there for a little longer. Edward said that right now she looks like she basically drank like 100 coffees and is just going, not stopping. And I agree with that completely. So yeah, there's still a lot to work on, but I wanted to still show it just as like work in progress. And the difference between like the first course and like second course, what I have. So yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, I wonder how it's gonna look up completed. Is it like a deserted like street alley? Is it like night or day?
I think it's gonna be day, and like it is like pretty deserted, like this girl like getting shot at and then running away and then kicking the lookout, which again, the lookout doesn't look evil enough. He doesn't read as a lookout. There's like Edward said, like make him like hold a gun in his hands and like maybe hold a walkie-talkie so that it like reads more clearly.
Yeah, intimidating.
So there's definitely a lot that needs to be done. But I can't wait to finish it and make it look good.
Interesting. I can't wait to see it myself.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, now it's time for my shot, but everyone will have to be extra nice about it because, first of all, I did it a year and a half ago. I see all the mistakes there. You don't have to point it out. I'll probably spend like maybe a couple 5-minute Fridays like making a better version of it. But still, I think it's very interesting. I will be showing a shot that I did on the third course of the animation 2D traditional animation, and the third course is mostly about like the finer movements, acting. There are 2 big challenges. Three, I think. It's the head turn, the wave, like you have to do something that will like flow on the wind, and then you'll have to do another challenge with acting. So you have to pick a sound that you will basically know for years and years on end. It will be in your dreams, in your nightmares, in your subconscious, just so you'd know. And I decided that I thought it would be a funny idea if I went with the Robin Hood, the 1975 Robin Hood character, Lady Miriam, I think that's her name. And I decided to use, because I was in like my Mean Girl era at the time, I think, I decided to use a clip of Regina George, not monologue, but basically one of the most famous clips of her. When she talks, I think, to some other characters, and like she's saying like, I can't go to Taco Bell, I'm on an all-carb diet, and which makes no sense. And like I just find it very funny. So without further ado, let me share let's go with the mini player first. And then I'll show like specific stuff from it. And I think it's very big. Do you see only my screen?
Yes.
I think
yes.
so. Good. Okay. I'll be showing it. I don't know if there's going to be audio or not. Let's hope we have some.
There doesn't seem to be audio from
Yeah,
me.
we don't.
No? Okay. But basically, let me tell it for you. And she goes like, can't go to Taco Bell. I'm on an all-carb diet. God, Karen, you're so stupid. And she like spits in the face and leaves. So let me show it on my other software, so we'll be able to pick the frames. It was very hard and challenging for me to do acting. I find myself being more comfortable with like big movements, like big stuff, basically. Partly, I think, comes down to, I think more subtle emotions are harder to show in animation because you have to basically understand how you drew your first frame. So you'd be able to continue it on the second one. That would be logical to the 3D kind of body of your character. And I found that really hard. For me to move a hand like this is a lot harder than like doing something like this. Well, understandably. And I had like a lot of struggles. The creative part was like the easy part, you know, picking a character, even finding reference. It was a bit complicated, but I didn't have like a lot of media to sit through. It was just one movie, and like Lady Miriam, she appears in like, for what, like 8 minutes of the whole movie, like not that long. I think I screenshotted almost every frame. And the process was very complicated as well, because we started with like mapping it out, explaining the idea. And then in the beginning, early stages of just like mapping everything out, I would pick some of the places of the acting shot, and I would actually put the screenshots of the Lady Miriam in the same face angle as her. So I'll be able to copy the proportions as much as I could. You can still see there's like a lot of artistic liberty with this Lady Miriam, but like over here, I think I like completely copied just so it would stay on track over here as well. And though you can see the hands are also pretty wonky, but I still like it. I think it's really good. The most fun part, I think, of creating the shot was creating the veil for the character, because it basically acted as her hair and an amplifier to her movements. So I think it was a bit overboard right now, but I think it was very clever for me at the time to use the hood over here. I don't know if it'll show. Yeah, over here. The way I decided to prolong the movement of her head and give it a bit more volume with the hood basically like going crazy around her head. I found that pretty fun. And of course, the veil in the back, as well as like it was said that special effects are really fun. I also found like special effects like smoke, fire, water, and like scarves and like fabrics very fun to animate. So I wanted to just go crazy and stupid in some places. And I think it worked really well. It kind of, the realistic movement, especially in the end where she turns over here, and the veil gives us this last kind of movement that it stopped and like hit against the body. I think it's a very good finishing touch to her movement as a whole. But as well, there's like a lot of stuff, like a lot of tangents. You can see a tangent like almost going over here. If I finish and clean it up, it'd probably be one. So there's a lot of stuff I would like to fix, I think, someday. Maybe sooner than later, if I'm showing it to so many people at once. And I think what was the most like challenging part for me, I think, is the movement of the body as a whole. For some people, won't be new information. I'll be probably repeating myself, but I'm moving a body as a whole because it was really hard to understand her movements because she was doing like a lot of hand stuff, and there's like a lot of stuff going with her veil and with her face and with this and with that. It was really hard to track down where her body, like how it would move and the volume. And Edward, when I was like doing the shot, he suggested I should draw like body at least like for a little while more. So I'll be able to almost like see the legs, where she's putting weight on what leg. So it would be a little bit more realistic. And I think what I did, what I think I would give advice myself, if I could go back, I would ask myself to absolutely not care about the little puffy sleeves, because these puffy sleeves, they look very cute, but when I started drawing them, I started drawing the body with the sleeves to kind of keep the silhouette, the shape, but instead that put me in a very comfortable position of I don't know where my shoulders are and I don't know where my elbows are. So sometimes I just have to, like over here, you could see on the left elbow, like what's with that? Like the shoulder isn't moving that much, but the elbow, man, it just goes wild. And like little stuff like that. I don't know. I'll let it play for a bit more so I'll be able to see it. And there's of course stuff I want to change as well, but I think it was really fun that it wasn't my idea initially, but it was Edward's idea to put the emphasis on the last like syllable she's saying, and to put so much force into it that she's like spitting, like putting some spit into her words, like she's always spitting at the person who said this like very wild idea of going to Taco Bell. And just imagining Miriam as a mean girl as well is also fun. Maybe like next year, maybe if I'll ever redo the 2D animation course, I should do one of the mean girls as the little chicken, the Miriam's, the maiden, the Miriam's maiden. Yeah, so I'll basically have like 2 shots of them talking, and I think that's hilarious.
That would be very interesting, definitely.
Agreed.
Yeah, that would be real funny for me. And I think that's what's most important. Yeah. Looking back at it gives me so much nostalgia. I would spend so much time memorizing the voices. And I remember I did I did the video reference as well. I didn't use it in the early stages, but the later stages we added so much like stuff that my reference wasn't really working for me anymore. But very memorable experience for me. And also some part about I wanted to add about the creation of the shot. You can see in the background, there's like slightly gray window frame. It was at the same time I started like learning Blender, and I decided what a good idea it would be if I make a 3D background. So I'll be able to understand the perspective of the shot and just, place the character so it will look harmonious to the whole character. And plus I had this like grand idea of redoing this shot in like grease pencil in Blender and just adding a bunch of like background like detail and stuff, but that never happened because plans are very good, but it's really hard to implement them when you have like stuff going on. But maybe one day. So I don't think I have anything to share about my shot. I think I've sold everything I wanted to. It was really fun, and I think I would love to go through like animations like through the whole first 3 courses again. It would be super fun.
Yeah, I have to say I really agree with what you said about her like little whale, like how fun it is to kind of play around with
Yeah,
it with the animation. I love that part as well so much.
yeah, because we were trying to figure out like how to use it as a part of her character, not just to be in the background, but like in the beginning where you could see how she's standing like all frustrated and she
Mm.
has the veil stripe over her like shoulder, almost like hair, and she turns around and she's like, I can't
Yeah.
like go to Taco Bell. And like I love this subtle how it like almost gives her this like Regina George kind of hairstyle.
Yeah, and it
Her
has so much
hairstyle.
energy. I love it. It's great.
Yeah, very bouncy. Yeah, but it was really hard. I think we were doing it for a long time because I think in the second and fourth course, you technically have three assignments and you do like three, but in the second course, you like have three assignments, the wave, the head turn, and the acting. But I've seen some people do like combine some of the assignments and just like doing two instead of three. I did that. I did the same way. I did two first. Uh, exercises, the wave and the head turn. But I'm not gonna show it because I'm a little bit embarrassed to show it now. Maybe once I'll fix it, I'll be able to show it. But it's just pantomime again with the same character because
You don't need
just
to be
to not go
embarrassed,
over.
so don't worry about that.
Oh, it's super cute. Okay, I'll show it, but in private.
Okay.
And I think that's it. Uh, all of the shots were very interesting. I love how all of them are so different from each other, how everyone had like their own unique ideas for them. And I think this is a great time to hop on the next section. First of all, we have one question, and I think everyone can answer in a little bit. Like give a little answer, just how you deal with it. And the question is, how much time do you spend each day? But I think it was meant to be like how much time you spend on your exercises each day. Since I'm talking, let me speak first. Usually first of all, I try to differentiate when I have my days off and days on onto of the animation because when I have my days off, I don't think about it. It doesn't exist. And I usually try to give myself at least 2 days. And that's the day when we had the review, because I was too lazy to go back to animating once I've spent like an hour and a half listening what I can make better. I just make a screen recording and put it 2 days rest. Like it can just sleep over. And then during the work week, whatever it would be, because we would have like maybe like reviews on Wednesday and until Friday, I'm not working. Like they can make me. And during the rest of the week, it really depends. But I think maybe from 4 hours. But I had a freelance job at the time, so I was able to combine and put so many hours, if not more, into it every day. But not everyone has, like a luxury to just be able to do it the whole day. So it was only applicable in my case. Does anyone want to answer? Or
I
everyone
can.
wants to?
I
Yeah,
can
sure.
answer. Okay, so basically, for the first course, I actually spent a lot of time. I was like free. I didn't have anything else to do. So I was like putting all of my effort and all of my time onto animation, and I was spending like I did have like 2 days off, like you said, basically Thursday and Friday, after Wednesday. And then I would spend basically like in between 6 to 8 hours a day just working on it and really just trying to make it as good as possible. And like Wednesdays were usually like the most panic induced because that's the day of the review. So I gotta get everything done and finish. And that was like, and it worked. It was like, I'm really happy with what I did for the first course. And then when I came to the second course about 2 years later, yeah, I had to start it in the middle of the exam month that I had at the academy. So it was really difficult. I didn't have a lot of time to do it. I would have maybe like 2 hours a day, and it was like maybe 2 to 3 days a week to work on it. And it was really helpful that like some people on the Animation Club server decided to have like little like basically chat time, like in the Discord server to like work together. That really helped. That motivated me a lot to work on it. And now that like the exam month is over, I did the walk cycle during that. It was really difficult, but I did it. I kind of felt burnt out and couldn't kind of work as much. I would procrastinate a lot, and I would basically Wednesdays were again the panic. Like that was like working 8 hours, like just from morning to evening. So yeah, it's been a bit of a mess, but it's kind of turned out.
Yeah, knowing how to spend like your time effectively is also another skill. You have to learn just to be able to do stuff you want to.
Yeah, I agree. So I wouldn't do it like this again. But yeah, it's been a learning experience.
Does anyone else would like to go and give us an answer? If anyone's willing.
Yeah, I feel really similarly to like what you guys have mentioned, where I was really struggling to manage my time, I think, and I think motivate myself to work on it every day. Like there would be days where I would just be so tired. And initially when I started the course, I had a full-time job. Now I have a part-time job. So I would just feel so drained, and I'd be like, oh, I can just work a lot tomorrow. But then the next day, like the stress of everything I had to do would compile. And so I would be less inclined to want to work on it because everything was stacking up. So something I did, which I'm still working on it because time management has always been kind of hard for me, to be honest, but just making a list at the beginning of my day and being like, if I can at least put in an hour and a half on this assignment today, then that's all I need to do. And so then usually what would happen is, it's a win if I at least do that much. And even if I don't get much done, like at least I did that. And usually like once I got started on it and did that hour and a half, I would want to keep working on it because I was already in the flow of it. So that was helpful just to keep my motivation up and then like want to put more time. Because I think the struggle was mostly wanting to like keep going and get started with it, you know?
True. Yeah, completely. Monica, I think you also wanted to share with us.
I wanted also to share like my experience because when I started this course, I was already working on some projects, freelancing, not full time, but like managing my time. And I thought, okay, this is gonna be peanuts. Like I do 4 hours for work and then 4 hours for assignments. Yeah, that didn't work. Okay, so what I'm doing is like using the panic button, like Robin. I do dedicate like 3 full days for the course. I don't do any work on those days. Obviously, on Wednesday is one of the days because, well, it's our last chance to polish something before showing to Edward and the class. But yeah, what I kind of need to do right now, which is something I don't advise at all, is like compensating work on weekends. But yeah, you should not do that. You should definitely have at least one day off without animation, without drawing, like just resting, just Netflixing, go for walks. But yeah, right now it's not possible to do that, but that's really not the ideal situation. So yeah, but like on the 3 days that I dedicate to the course, I try to do at least 6 hours. Sometimes I don't feel at all like drawing or I'm stuck in a pose or something, so it's less than that. But yeah, usually that's what I aim for.
Yeah, that's also good. I initially said 4 hours. I would set the whole day. I think the work I put in would be about 4 hours, and the rest, everything else is just me procrastinating while sitting in front of my TV pane, just like, oh, what reels? They're so fun. Like,
yeah.
My shot was just sit there for like an hour, just like looking at me, like not getting any changes, and I'll be like, oh, I'm working so hard.
Yeah, but like I also wanted to add because the 3 days are like actually drawing and animating, but there's another part of the course which is watching the recorded lesson that Edward makes available. That I usually do like in my sofa watching my phone during the week to not like take time from those 3 days. and then searching for references also like in between work, so I can actually focus on animating on these days.
Actually, what helped me to start like doing animations is actually watching the whole replay of the like review. It would be like from an hour and a half to 2 hours, because he's checking every student for like 20, like he would go like up to 30 minutes on a single shot. And I just loved listening because he always talks about like the same animation principles, like over to every student in like a different way. And it helped me to kind of listen to him and try to analyze my work as well, while not looking at what he's actually like discussing and changing and trying to apply it. And also it worked for me for a couple of times, but then I forgot to do it, and the half of my preparation for animations went without it. But very useful life hack. Like it helps. I just didn't use it.
Definitely.
Valmira, do you want to share if you want to? Or we could go to the next question, which is also up to answer for everyone.
Ooh, next question.
Okay, next question. What was your favorite exercise? Well, I have much more stuff to pick through. Most of the people on the first course don't have a lot to stuff, but maybe there was a preference. Maybe something especially was fun for you.
Oh, well, for me, it was actually the one that I showed, like the little mouse thing, because it was like very fun and challenging to do. And I was like, whoa, that's so cool. I want to do like more stuff like this.
More. Yeah, I get what you mean. Robin, Maria?
Yeah, I can go next. I think also the one that I showed, the dragon, that was my favorite one. I actually thought the turnaround might be my favorite one when I was like starting it, because I really liked the like 3D, and I have done turnarounds before, so I thought it would be kind of easy. And then it turned out it was like one of the toughest assignments we had. I died during it. It was awful. I loved it, but it was awful. But yeah, the dragon, I really enjoyed it. It was really fun and very like time to be creative and try out all the things. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I feel like on the course 2, so far we only did 2 assignments, like the one with the dynamic shot we already showed, but also first a walk cycle. As Robin, I hated it and I loved it at the same time, because it was so technical, like very specific arcs of the elbow and the shoulders and the head tilting here and there, like very, very technical. But that was very rewarding, like starting to see the walk cycle. I like
it. Maria, what about you?
Yeah, I feel very similarly to what's been said, where a lot of the more technical assignments, they were really good learning experiences. Kind of like, I guess they sort of felt like doing a study or something in like illustration, where it's really good practice, but it feels like training in a way that maybe isn't always fun. So I think for me, my favorite one so far has been the dynamic shot, actually, even though it's very, very rough and who knows when it will ever get done. But I feel like it was the one where I felt the most like I was animating something, because the flower sack, like it was still a flower sack at the beginning. So I still felt like, oh, this is practice. But then like for just like the flower sack section, but that shot, like it was a character I really liked, and I felt like a lot of the animators I really look up to that do like super cool dynamic stuff, like it was like a tiny little bit of that. So I felt like, oh, like I am learning and I am getting better, and like I'm able to do more of the stuff that I want to be doing in the future. You know?
Absolutely. I know what you mean. Yeah, it's same for me. I'm with the same opinion that my favorite shot was also the dynamic shot, just because you could do so much fun stuff with it. They would basically, they tell you beforehand, like, go wild, go crazy, go stupid. Like, just don't remember you have a deadline, but like anything else, like up for grabs. You can do whatever you want. And that was very liberating for me, because I was struggling so much with the character turn and with the walk cycle, especially walk cycle. That was my personal like bane of my existence. Like I was struggling so much when we did it, and my character wasn't that hard. It's just I guess like getting into like it was my first real like serious animation with someone who had like 2 legs, 2 arms, and everything, and you just have to keep track of everything. And I found it very challenging. But I actually have some friends who went to the same course as I did at the same time, and actually there's on our Discord server as well. And their most favorite exercise was the walk cycle. They love doing the walk cycle because they worked in the industry before as a cleanup artist. So for them, it was like second nature almost, like keeping everything like neat. And it was like very technical. They have a lot of technical skills, and they found themselves really lost in the dynamic shot because they weren't used to, just directing something. They're used to it, like given like a task and like do it amazingly well. But when they, as they told me, faced the, this creative freedom, it actually a bit like it scared them a bit before actually doing the most amazing shot I ever saw in my life at the time. So it was really good. But interesting how some people could find some technical stuff more rewarding than something that focuses more on creatives. And I think it's just as valuable, if not even more, because I'm really bad at like technical stuff, and I think it's very important for growth. So you have to do everything just like compensate for the stuff you're not good at.
Yeah, I thought I was actually gonna do the walk cycle like really easily again. I was like, oh, I've done it before, like, oh, it's fine. And then I again died. It was like, what the hell? What is this? What? Especially the front view, because I hadn't actually done the front view much, so it was like, wow, okay, this is so complex. Oh God. But I enjoyed it. I'm happy with what I did, but
yeah, man, that was an experience as well. And I think we talked about all of the questions we got sent through. Thank you so much for them, especially that all of this, I just got to talk a bit more. And I think we can go to the next part of our Q&A. It's just to talk about what you want to do in the future with your animation. Maybe like where would you love to work one day, or maybe you have a project that you're thinking, ooh, now I can animate, now I can like finally do it. That would happen like in my case, but I'm gonna talk the very last. I'll be the very last one. I want to listen to your dreams and aspirations, if you're willing to share them, of course. As usual, we can start with Valmera and then go by our usual schedule.
Oh yeah. Ooh, okay. So well, I mean, oh, can you repeat the question?
Of course. What do you want to do in like the animation world in general? What do you want to do after the courses?
Okay.
Do you want to go to like a next course, like the other kind of type of course, or you want to go to a university, or you want to work? Anything. It was just talking about your dreams.
Honestly, I want to like finish this course because like I might not say it often, but I really like it so much. It's very awesome that's actually available, like and affordable compared to like a university. And I wish I could like work like as an animator. Right now I'm a cleanup artist as a freelancer. I've been working for a few studios right now, and I kind of want to like change it to be like an animator because that's like my main my main desire, you know. Like,
Still,
great.
a lot of artists, animators start with cleanup, so you're absolutely on the right track to go further.
Woo!
I can't wait to like meet here in like, I don't know, 5-6 years. I'll save your contacts and we'll see where is each and every one of us. You can lie. You can say like you had an Oscar. Like we can put it in.
Yeah, totally not working in McDonald's. I'm an artist. Oh no.
No. I got a feature film.
Well, you can actually do animation for McDonald's. That would be very, very cool. Why
True,
not?
and you can say like you work at McDonald's. Don't
Yeah,
explain
exactly.
anything. Just
That's
like
clever.
Yeah.
Woo.
okay, Robin, you're next. Tell us
yeah,
your
well,
dreams
for
and
now,
aspirations.
I'm just kind of like focused on like getting more economic with my like animations and becoming more effective and just learning how to like kind of be quicker with it. I don't have like exactly like an idea what I would like to do. I would like to learn more about effects, definitely. And just generally like I'm really interested in actions and all that kind of stuff. One day acting is definitely a thing that I want to learn. But yeah, basically just becoming more effective and becoming more economic with it. And I would like to dabble in storyboarding at some point. Really, like that is probably the thing that I'm really, really interested in and would like to get into. So yeah, just that basically for now.
Yeah. Storyboards do sound very appealing.
Yeah, I love them. I've loved them for so long, and I finally want to actually get into them and actually learn the principles and how it works and tell stories.
And so
So
animation is very important a skill to learn because not a lot of like
yeah,
storyboarders, they have to know how to animate just to know how to express well in their visual language.
yeah,
So it takes a lot of skill.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, hoping to get there one day.
Yeah, I'll look through your name in the credits of like
Hell
every
yes.
movie in
Hell
like
yes.
5 years. Maria, do you want to share what you want to do next?
Yeah, sure. Right now, I think in the short term, I definitely want to keep improving on my drawing skills because I think animating is very telling to like kind of learn what your weaknesses are when it comes to drawing and design. So I want to keep working on that. I want to keep moving with the course, but actually right now I'm sort of like I don't know whether I should like continue straight until the acting course or take some time just to like finish what I did this term and then also upgrade like my draftsmanship skills so that I feel better prepared for the next section. So I'm still thinking about that. But in the long term, actually, like I mentioned this before, but the reason I joined the course was because I went to school for 3D and I never felt fully passionate about it. Like in my free time, that wasn't the type of personal work I wanted to make. Like I wanted to be doing 2D. So I've been trying to pivot more towards 2D and then specifically motion design work. So I'm hopeful that eventually in the future I'll be able to work like at a cool motion design studio and be working on things that kind of get to combine all of those different ways of animating, like 3D with 2D with like frame by frame 2D versus like After Effects. So maybe like a place like Giant Ant or Buck or Golden Wolf. Those are kind of like the places that really inspired me to even like want to get into 2D frame by frame animation in the first place. So fingers crossed. I don't know.
Fingers crossed.
Hopefully it works out.
Yeah, well, I hope it'll work out for you. Plus, your knowledge of 3D animation also gives you the chance to just be more knowledgeable in the industry. You'll be able to like combine stuff, you know, from 3D animation to like enhance your 2D animations in some way. So I think that's just as useful skill. So you have basically a leg forward. Good job.
Thank you. Hopefully.
Monica, would you like to tell us what you have in mind?
Okay, I will. No, so basically, as a freelancer, I had the opportunity like to explore different animation styles, like even painting animation, which is very cool, by the way. But a lot of time consuming. I did it in Clip Studio Paint, like 2 projects on that animation style, but that's not exactly what I want to do. So I really want to focus on 2D character animation, especially that's like more realistic style, like in the Last Airbender. And right now I'm working with the studio on a short film with like a character animator. There's like a team with character designers and compositors. That's very cool. But right now I'm the only animator. So what I kind of miss, of course, I still want to keep working on this film, but in the future, maybe I see myself like working in a big team, like to learn with other experienced 2D traditional animators. And yeah, I think that's the experience I'm aiming for in the future. Like I've never learned cutout or even 3D. I think that would be useful. We should learn at least a bit to know a bit of that, but that's not quite what I want to do. So I really want to focus on traditional 2D animation.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Also, everyone's moving to their goals. Everyone's so motivated. I feel already like motivated, like I want to do something after this.
Awesome. Yeah.
Also very good. Well, I'm the only one left, and I'll be pretty brief. To be honest, I'm not sure what I want to do for the future. I'm really open because, 2 years ago, I had no idea I'll be sitting here on a Zoom call, like talking about what we're going to do in animation. So I'm not putting anything like concrete. I think something will definitely work out for me, as it always does. And my dream is just to do not like whole films, but just like small animations, maybe on a smaller scale, and just be funded by people who are interested in like watching it. Not exactly like industry work, but something that gives me like as much as creative freedom as I could. But who knows if it's gonna happen? I hope so. I think it's pretty doable. But we'll see. Maybe in 5 years we'll meet and I'll be like, yeah, see, there's like my social medias, and I have like twice the more people I had like 5 years ago. And I'll be closer to my goal day by day. And I think we can go to our last question, and that would be a lot more important to the learning process. Dreams and aspirations are also important to on a personal scale, but not about the school. So the question is this: what advice or like life hacks or tips and tricks you would give someone who is thinking to start animation courses? Like any specific advice, maybe something you encountered and you feel it would be very beneficial if someone told you about it beforehand. You can, it's a lot more complicated question. Not everyone could have an advice. So if you do, just like wave your hand, say aye, and I'll give you the floor.
Yeah. I can go. Well, basically the one thing that I would like say is maybe to like learn the program first, get like comfortable with it before going into the program, learn at least some of the principles before going into this course, because there's like a lot of information. It's an intensive course. You will learn a lot and you will be pushed a lot. So just getting at least like slight knowledge, at least knowing that you love animation and knowing that you know how to work in the program beforehand will really help you not get overwhelmed and potentially like quit midway. So yeah, that's like one advice that I would give.
Yeah, completely true. Valmera, would you like to give some advice?
Oh, well, I mean, an advice I would like to tell other people is like to take it slow, like you're learning, and it's like a long process, and people just want to see like the results, like right there. Like you have been animating for like 2 weeks, you are not going to be the next James Baxter. So like to reduce your expectations and to actually have fun, because this is like a learning process and we are all learning together. That, and don't compare yourself to others. Like compare your work to your other work, because everybody's path is different, but we are going to the same goal, So yeah. There's that.
And on the second part, you're absolutely right about not comparing yourself to other people, because as you like saw in this course, we have people who didn't have any formal training, very much. We had people who already worked in the industry as an like 3D animator, like Maria. We had people like Robin, who's already studying academically painting and also decided to, I hope I said everything right, but like studying
illustration,
animation. Illustration, yeah, that would be more right. What do I want to say? I forgot in the middle of the sentence. But basically, yeah, just don't compare yourself to the results of other people, because you don't know how long they've been doing animation. I had this one girl who started with us at the same course, and I saw her animation and she was like, yeah, the next James Baxter. She was like amazing. Her arc's amazing. She did like horses. She did flying horses on her first assignment. A churning flying horse. And I was like, what? How I can be that good? Like I was devastated at first. And then I started talking to her, and turns out she's been working at a 2D animation studio for 5 years. And like, don't compare yourself. I started 2 weeks ago. Even though I was drawing, I will never do the same like flying horse. Maybe in a couple of years I could try attempting like to recreate what she did, but it's totally okay to, you know, not be the best at everything, especially if you're starting really soon. Don't expect to give like Oscar worthy results just out of like nowhere. You need some time to build up the skills. Yeah, Valmeri also wanted to add.
I just wanted to mention that animation was the main reason that I got into the course, because I was like, whoa, that's so cool. I was showing it to all my friends.
Wow.
Oh, this place is cool. I actually have like 2 friends that want to like join in like next time the course opens. So there's that, yeah.
Well, here's the secret. She's been actually doing animation for like more than what, 7 years now. So maybe in 7 years we'll get, you know, just as good. But yeah, very, very good animation. I'm still impressed. I'm remembering that and like, wow, how could she do that in that time frame? And she was working at the time, like full time at an animation studio. And the hours at that animation studio are crazy as well. So I don't know who, maybe she's like a bot or a god, maybe. We did not know. She never even turned the camera on to like show her face. So she was an enigma. Does anyone else want to give some piece of advice? Yes, goddess, animation goddess, for true, completely true. Monica, sure.
Yeah, I think what Valmira mentioned about like don't compare yourself to others is very, very valid. I would also add that it's great to get inspiration from other people, from existing animations, but it can get overwhelming. Okay, so if you are like spending a lot of time on social media watching what everyone else is doing, and they are doing such cool stuff, it can get overwhelming. So just turn off social media and go for a walk and go back to work. Don't think about that, because
Touch some grass.
we all have our own paths to go through.
Yeah.
And I would also say that there's a big community in animation school behind the course in Discord. And I would say don't be afraid to ask for help if you feel stuck in something, like I was drawing for shortening poses. I did ask for help, and there was a lot of people helping. Thank you, Robin. You were the first one.
Thank you.
So yeah, that was very helpful. So ask for help, use the community, because it's very, very valuable. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, that's very valuable also to have community around. And yeah, just like to have time to like practice together, as like some of the students did, like just meeting off hours. Maybe we should do it more often. Maybe it'll make us more motivated. Looking by the head shakes, like, yeah,
Agreed,
please.
yeah.
Maybe it will be something we do more often.
You can work on Maid Marian, and we will finish our assignments.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
True. Yeah, we can do that. That would be fun. Okay.
Let's do that.
Sure, I'll think about it. Maybe this week's or next one. Did anyone share all the advice they wanted before I go and like give a little? Yes, Maria.
I'll just quickly add on, because I think what I have to share is very similar to what you guys have mentioned. I feel like pivoting, because I think this is a very common personality trait that I've noticed in artists, is we tend to be so detail oriented that we're too hard on ourselves and are too like perfectionist. It's not about like impressing anybody else with what you're doing. Like, it's about having fun. And I think like if you can pivot the assignments to be like, I'm learning and I'm doing something that is fun for me to do, like that's all that matters. And it doesn't matter what other people are doing. I mean, it matters because you're friends, but it doesn't matter in that like you're trying to compete with them or anything.
Yes, exactly.
And it makes it more fun for you, and you get to figure out like what you like and like why you're animating in the first place, you know?
Yeah.
And then as for the course itself, like less mental and more just practical,
Yeah.
I agree. Like because from the beginning of whatever section you're in, you know what assignments you're going to be working on later. If you can already kind of be thinking like, this is what I want to do. And like, if you see something on Twitter or X, whatever, about like a reference, or you see it on Instagram, like something that you're like, oh, like that would help me with this, or like you start kind of compiling things to help you out later on. The course moves so fast that I would definitely suggest the more preparation that you can do beforehand, the easier time you'll have later on.
Completely, yeah. I think it's very sound advice to just prepare. I also have advice. It will be basically the same thing, to prepare. But as Robin said, to prepare like in the software, or like you could prepare mentally. I think you should also prepare what characters you're gonna do. And also, I told this before the stream when we were just like running down and just like talking what we're gonna talk about. So I'm gonna be repeating myself. But basically, it's be careful with the character you're gonna choose, because you're gonna live, breathe, eat, sleep, dream about that character for like a couple of months for sure, because you're going to see it so much. You're just going to have a mental image all of the time of them with you. But also, it has to be appealing for you. You have to enjoy drawing the character, first of all, and you have to think about time management. Because we had people who, for example, didn't do a lot of animation beforehand, so they don't have a lot of skills in shortening your time when you're working, because the more you work, the more you can know like, oh, I can do this very quickly, and like know how to basically put everything in like a very good time frame to get the result you want. And when you're just starting, that's not a skill you're really equipped with. And we had people who didn't draw and animate for a lot of time and would pick something like, I don't know, from the like any character from the Treasure Planet, honestly. People really like them, but usually people struggle with those because they're very hard to do. And they take a lot of time because they have a lot of elements. And especially if they want to do it like clean colored, oh my God, like it's not, absolutely not on the time frame. Like it could be, but you could just do it off the course when you want to. But that will take a lot more than finishing everything in the deadlines you were set in. So I think that's important, to pick a character beforehand, and also just to do a couple of layouts. I had too many times, I had drawn an animation, planned it out, even had like a perspective grid to it. And then I tried drawing the background and realized it doesn't work with my character. The way he moves, the way the perspective moves, it's not viable. It happened on my first course when I was doing one of the first assignments, and I cleaned everything up and I started drawing the background, and I realized my character, he can't do that physically. Like it just doesn't work that way. And I had to create some kind of solution just to make the animation look good enough. So do like a layout with your character. And I think that will just take off a lot of stress, especially in the back end of your animation like process, when you're going to the finish line, and like some of the stuff you could have avoided with the layout, you won't have to deal with, basically. So yeah, a layout and a character, and of course everything else. Especially I like Monica's advice to just breathe in, and like Maria's with learning, you didn't have to, there's no like specific deadline. You don't have to be good by Friday, you have the whole life to get better, and you don't have to, put like more additional stress to already that you have with like completing the assignments, doing it. Like, give yourself a break. That's probably as well what I would say. Preparation and giving yourself breaks, I think, are very important to the learning process as a whole. And I think we talked about everything we wanted to. I think it was a very good conversation we had, and time flew by so quickly. We've been talking for an hour and a half already, and I was like afraid we won't make it to 1 hour. We would have everything we talked about and be like, oh, okay, well, bye. So I think this is a very good time to end the stream because I think we're already tired, and there's a whole weekend to get rest, and I don't want to hold everyone further here. Thank you for being here on the stream, hearing what students have to say. It's always very interesting for me because I finished some time ago, and I'm really interested in what our new students are going through right now. And thank you for all the people who are watching us. I actually see we have a bit more people than I expected, and we had a lot of people when we were showing the shots. So thank you for being here. And if you're watching this as a recording, as I usually say, big hugs and kudos to you, because I can't watch anything longer than 5 minutes without tuning to something else. So if you sat here through the whole thing or watched the whole thing, you deserve like a small round of applause. And of course, a big round of applause to each and every of our students who join us today. Do you have anything to share? You can wave your hand. There's no need to use the emoticons because we have the stream basically breaks. Maria, I see. We can go with you. Yeah, sure.
Okay, I just want to quickly say more so about the course itself, since like I'm assuming there are people watching that maybe are interested in like joining the course later on. But when I was looking for 2D animation courses online, I remember I had a really tough time finding classes that had this setting where it's like other students and weekly feedback with somebody like a mentor that has experience in the industry and is like actively working. I really didn't find something comparable to that online. So I know that for me, like when I was following tutorials and things like that in 2D, it didn't have the same, I definitely didn't feel like I was learning in the same way because it was hard to find incentive to keep going with those sorts of things. So I do think, I guess to advocate for it, I do think it has been a very productive course for me. Like I am very grateful, and I think that like this setup that the school has been really, really helpful.
Yeah,
I agree completely. I recommend this course like 100%. And the people that I talked to beforehand when I was like researching this course have also recommended it to me like full-heartedly. So yeah, absolutely agree with that.
Yeah, I would, and I just want to say that we were not paid to say this, okay? We really
yes, no one was paid during this.
Yeah, we really are enjoying these courses and everything about them. As I mentioned, I did some online training before, but the format is very special here because, as Maria was mentioning, we have like live feedback with a mentor, and we are all together. The courses I've done before were nice too, but like it was a recorded feedback. And of course, I wouldn't watch everyone else's assignments because there's no time for that. And here we are sitting in the same spots at the same time, watching everyone's assignments, every feedback that Edward gives to each student every week. And also it's great to see the evolution and how our colleagues are also developing their animations. That's amazing.
Yeah, completely true. You could call it like forced learning. You're forced to sit there and like sit and listen to what he has to say because it's your turn and you don't know when it's going to be and you're just like glued to the screen. Valmera, do you have anything you would like to say before we end the stream for today?
Well, I mean, I guess what I would like to say is that like I really enjoy this community. Wish there were more places like this because I know many artists out there would really love to be with us right now. So yeah, hope they get the chance someday.
Yeah. Oh, that's also, yeah, thank you for saying that the community is pretty good. We try to keep it up and active, but I think slowly in time we'll add some fun, really cool stuff to make it even better. So I think this is a great time to end the stream. Again, as I told before, thank you for watching. Thank you for asking questions, and I hope to see you at our Discord server as soon as possible. I hope to see all of the shots that the students showed today as quickly as possible on my table by next week. Like, you can finish it, right? Like on the weekend. Like, it's not that hard, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, easy. Just like, shoot, and it's ready. Like my Miriam, you know? And yeah, hope to see all of the viewers on our next 5-Minute Friday. If you also have something planned ahead, and go to our Discord server, because I think the next fun event we're gonna have is gonna be this Sunday. It's gonna be our quick figure drawing practice. And some students, I think, here been to the practice. I think Robin, you've been to the practice? Yeah. So it's very fun, and we draw really quickly. It's mainly for just getting the gesture.
Yeah, basically just focused on that. You can't do anything else. It's great. So
true. So one more time, I'll say thank you and goodbye.
Thank you for having us. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye bye.